Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Free Think Dojo. For today's video, I wanted to talk about something that I feel like everybody needs to experience at least once in their lifetime. There are a lot of people that I know that have never left their hometown. And if they've left their hometown, they've went to another city that is just like where they came from. For me, I was that same person. I moved from my hometown to another city, and it wasn't much different. It was still in the Midwest. There were a lot of the same values and same culture, and a lot of the same people. And what you start to find when you're kind of involved in the same culture and the same places is you start to get a little too comfortable. You become a little bit too engraved in your own area that you kind of become unaware of the rest of the world. A lot of people that I know and see on the daily, especially in my area, are very patriotic for their country. And while being patriotic is not necessarily a bad thing, a lot of them take these patriotic urges and this pride that they have, and they decide to use it in a hostile way to approach other countries, other cultures, and just other people that walk different paths than them. What that usually results to is this some sort of competition complex where people need to feel superior to other countries, and it's become a pretty big issue these days. But what I feel like they should all do is just step outside the borders of their own country and just go visit somewhere else. Because who knows, those differences could actually change their life. So in today's video, I thought I would talk a little bit about my experiences leaving the country and experiencing different cultures, and why I think everybody else should at least give it a try. When I was growing up, I never had the chance to leave the country. My parents never really had the urge to leave. It was kind of just staying within the US and making it easy. I think they were also afraid of taking young kids overseas just because they didn't really want to have anything happen or deal with it. But as I got older, I had the urge to obviously go somewhere. Growing up in the Midwest, I always had the typical Midwest values engraved into me, and that was usually the Christian values. I grew up in a very church-focused town, and all those values that I had usually warped me into not wanting to experience other cultures because it would get in the way. As I got into high school, though, I started martial arts training. And through martial arts, I got really involved and really interested in the Chinese culture and Asian culture in general, because the martial art that I practice derives from Chinese culture, but also has influences from Japanese culture, Indonesian culture, and many others. The more and more that I got experiences with these different cultures through my training, I always wanted to go experience those actual places where they had derived these ideas from. It was always a goal of mine to visit, a temple in China or go to a school over there, or whatever I could do. Honestly, I could do anything. Now, at the time, I was a kid. I didn't have money, and I didn't have a way to leave the country, just because I wanted to. It was something that I had to wait for, obviously. However, as I got older and started making money and was out of the house and out of college, I wanted to make a bucket list for myself, and the number one thing on that bucket list was to leave the country. Obviously, there's a lot of fears with leaving the country, and everybody has different or same fears. And for me, my biggest fears were, the safety. I didn't know if I left the country, if I would be safe. Obviously, as I said in my previous video, I have a lot of anxiety, so you can't even imagine the anxiety I had being in a different country where I didn't know anybody, and it was scary. So those fears obviously were something that kept me within my own little bubble in my town, in my country, and it was something that I had to have some type of reason. I had to have something that would push me to actually book the ticket and go experience it. Luckily, a few years back, I started working with some close friends in a group with martial arts training. And they were heavily involved with a lot of different countries because the group would actually travel and train with people in China, Germany, Japan, all of that. And it was something that, I always knew was an option when I first joined the group. But during the time I was still getting engraved in it, I was still learning. So I never thought that I would be able to have the opportunity as quickly as I did. But lo and behold, after about a year of working with the group and establishing myself within their community, I actually was asked to go to Tokyo, Japan and teach at a martial arts seminar. All of a sudden, all of those fears and doubts went away. All of the fears about being alone were gone because I had people I knew that I was going with. And then I had a reason to go as well, and I felt comfortable about it because it was something that I was passionate about. It was an art that I was able to share and communicate through to people from a different culture that were speaking a different language and were just overall different. Now, obviously, I could make multiple videos about my experiences in Japan, and I might one day, but I think with this video, obviously, the whole experience was very eye opening. It taught me a lot of things that I never thought I would ever experience in my life, but am glad that I did. These things are ultimately what I'm trying to get across. The things that changed the way that I viewed where I lived and how I should treat and think about people from different walks of life and different countries. The first thing that happened when I stepped foot and started experiencing a culture that was different than mine was that it humbled me very quickly. Especially when you live in the US, you have kind of a chip on your shoulder when you leave in different countries. A lot of people believe that they should be treated a certain way because they're from a certain place. And for me, that was farthest from the truth. For the first time, I was in a country and involved in a culture where I was the minority. I was not the majority favored in that culture. And for me, that was an eye opening experience because I had to kind of take a step back and remember who I am, where I was. And it kind of brought me back down to earth and got me to focus a little bit more on respect. Now, obviously, I've always respected other cultures in the best way that I can, but I feel like when you're actually involved in the culture yourself and you're in that environment, it kind of gives you a chance to observe a little bit more than to just go around living the way you usually do. Which brings me to my second point. Being a minority in a different country is something that I don't think a lot of people ever experience. Being a white male from America walking down a side street of Japan by yourself, where everybody is Japanese and they're following the same paths and kind of having the same nuances and things that they do, it's a very humbling experience, first off, but it also gives you the opportunity to focus on respect. Obviously, you want to respect those individuals and those cultures when you're actually there, but when you come back to your original country, that respect will follow you. You'll remember how you felt in a situation like that. So when you see somebody from a different country come to yours and kind of have that situation flip flopped, it gives you a little bit more understanding of what they may be thinking and what they're going through as well. If anything, it really just brings you down to earth. Obviously, I think a lot of people need that these days. A lot of people need to be brought down to a level playing field to really see and have empathy for each other, especially when they're from different environments and different cultures. I will continue to go back to Japan and hopefully more countries in the future on my bucket list. And I hope everybody, if you ever have the money and ever have the chance or opportunity to go to one of these countries, definitely give it a shot. I know it's scary. I know it's something that a lot of people are afraid to do for many reasons. But I think at the end of the day, if you don't want to have any regrets in life and you want to fully experience what the world has to offer and kind of bring you out of your comfort zone, sometimes you can find answers to your problems. Sometimes you can find new ways to live that maybe you've been looking for. But it will also give you the opportunity to learn. And I think a lot of people shut off learning later on in their life. And once you do that, you will stay stagnant. You'll stay in that hometown. You'll stay in those same values for the rest of your life, and you'll just stay comfortable. Let me know if you've ever been to a different country. I definitely want to hear about anybody else's experiences. If you've been to Japan, definitely let me know since that's where I've been. Like I said, I have other places I want to go, such as Italy, China, France in the future. So if any of you have been to any of those countries, let me know how it went. Definitely love to hear. I appreciate everybody sticking around in the Free Think Dojo with me today. Wanted to apologize for no videos last week. I was taking care of some family situations, so I didn't have any of my equipment with me because I was not at home. So I do apologize for that, but we are back in the regular routine this week. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any ideas for videos or anything you would like to see, and I will talk to you guys next time.